Psst, check out my Patreon. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I heard this episode's title was Drama Bomb of all things, all I could think about was that one clip from season 1.
Whoa, drama bomb.
Which is like the one and only time the reboot ever said that. This episode is another case of something being rehashed from A Star is Blossom because Ms. Moss makes a return to direct the Elemental High School students in their next school play. Between this, Ragnarok and Roll, and Derby Dollies, a lot of episodes certainly seem to be inspired by A Star is Blossom in one way or another, aren't they? We've got the same cast of kids with the same director, and it just comes together to create an all-around miserable experience, one that I did not enjoy much at all. The episode isn't the worst in the reboot by a long shot, but I never liked Ms. Moss the first time around, and this episode didn't do her any favors either. Yikes. Guess I better show you what this is all about then.
And action.
We are the Five Girls.
So the episode begins with various students royally screwing up their lines and stage directions during a rehearsal for the upcoming school play on the food pyramid and all of the major food groups. Ms. Moss here is actually given her name in this episode, hence why I was able to acknowledge her as such during the introduction of the video. Something she did not have in her prior episode where, need I remind you, she grave robs to steal an ancient book that spawns in Erica the Red, who kidnaps a student and gets the entire stage production destroyed. Not exactly the most compelling character to bring back.
Look at me. I am broccoli.
Committee Boone! Buttercup, you're supposed to come from stage left, not stage right!
Where?
And that was the only thing that made me slightly chuckle in this episode. Everything else just isn't doing it for me, such as the fact that apparently Blossom and Jared are both terrible at this, despite having starred as the lead roles in several school plays prior to this one. Why are they suddenly garbage actors along with everyone else when the other students and faculty were encapsulated with their performances in previous plays? Like, even though they're kids and they're obviously only as good as a kid can be, they should still be levels above the rest of the students here, you know? There should be a clear distinction between their level and the others. And Bubbles, too. She was supposedly a phenomenal actress who could pull off the Erica the Red role extremely well. Yet here she can't even remember, like, 8 lines? How is she able to play the lead for the length of an entire play before, and now she's not in the play at all until the very end, and yet she can't remember the one verse she has? She isn't in any other parts of the production, just the final climactic moment where she says this one verse and then it ends. I'm glad Blossom at least has a prominent role again, considering she was unfairly cast as a rock just for the sake of a joke. This balances things out, assuming Erica the Red was the previous production, but even if this is the case, why is Bubbles having trouble remembering her lines?
They're fun on a stick, a delight in a bowl, but treats are the best when they're part of when they're part of steak?
That's another thing. She doesn't even forget like half of it, a third of it. No, she only forgets the word whole, which like, what other word would even go there, you know? It's gotta rhyme with bowl, it ends the phrase part of a. All I'm saying is Bubbles forgetting her lines could have been way more believable than what the episode actually gives us. At least have her forget like the second half of the entire thing or something. At least then Ms. Moss would be justified in getting frustrated at her. That's the other thing. Ms. Moss gets furious with Bubbles here, but no, that was 99% perfect. If anything, she should be happy that at least one student here is almost finished with learning their part. Well, anyways, Ms. Moss gathers the children around and then complains that she's working with children who don't have an ounce of professionalism because, well, no shit, they're children. But she demands they get serious because famed critic from Citiesville, Critic Lady, will be there viewing it for the potential for their play to go on tour. This theater coach does realize that these kids are like 6 years old, right? Then again, I have heard of school drama teachers taking their plays super seriously before, so Ms. Moss is probably an exaggerated version of them. I think it's important to remember in situations like this that these are school plays, not Broadway. So next day is the night of the play, and wow, that was fast. Also, budget cuts are scheduled following this production because I guess Ms. Moss is not allocating her resources correctly, and all of the students are still rubbish at their roles because they're 6 years old, but what do any of these people honestly expect? Even Critic Lady is there, and what does she honestly expect? They are 6 years old! I cannot stress this enough! Also, the professor is seen in each of these shots snapping pictures of his daughters, so at least he's being optimistic and supportive. Alright, here's another thing. If the school has had how many plays before this one? Why is this one such a disaster? Like, these kids have the experience of previous plays. Would they not have learned by now? I mean, I get that they could all have been disasters, but Erica the Red was never depicted as such. That play went off without a hitch, and everybody loved it, so if it's already been established that the students know how to act, and the school knows how to put on a production like this, why do they suddenly not know how to in this episode? Oh, I should probably specify, when I say the play went off without a hitch, I mean after the conflict with Erica was settled. Obviously, her coming in and kidnapping Jared was a big event, but when talking about the play itself and what that was, it was depicted as going on perfectly fine. But not this one though. In fact, Ms. Maz's play is beginning to look like an utter disaster as she wallows behind the curtains at the failures of these children, while Bubbles kindly asks her for help remembering her line, to which she just shoves her away without any sign of caring for what poor, innocent, sweet little Bubbles is going through.
I think if you could just help me, it would...
Help? Help? In case you didn't notice, that was a fake laugh, because there's no help for us now.
And I may have hated Ms. Moss before in A Star Is Blossom, but she just committed a cardinal sin, and now she will never earn my forgiveness because shrugging Bubbles off like this is the worst crime imaginable in Townsville. Not that she cares, seeing as she's currently lost deep inside a flashback of her thespian cult graduation, where she was given a literal drama bomb by her fellow thespians who totally just look like recolors of the goons that listen to Bubbles in The Spoon. This drama bomb is for emergency use only, meant for a situation of true desperation. Considering that she's watching her entire production crumble all around her, this seems like the perfect time to let it loose.
Gather together, please. Barry, get in there! Drama bomb!
What are the repercussions and side effects of her using this item? Well, it appears that all of the students that were affected by it have become cursed with a case of uncontrollable overacting, as they all speak super dramatic-like, as if everything is the end of the world. But I don't know, this just comes across to me as overacting rather than actual drama, and maybe hyperbole was the point here, but we've seen the show mock the artistic merit of the humanities before, so if that was the case, this is such a been there, done that subject matter. Sure enough, we're treated to Blossom, Buttercup, Jared, Barry, and Robin, who is finally remembered in this show after not having appeared for how many dozens of episodes now, as they perform their roles in the play in a Chicago-styled parody with their overdramatic attitudes, and because of course there's a shot of Jared and Blossom singing together.
We are the food groups. We hope you put us all inside your tummy tum. We are so yummy.
This is a specific reference to the cell block tango portion of Chicago, and a nice detail I really appreciate is how the shot of the 5 characters posing when the lights go dark is matched perfectly to when the lights come back on. It's a very blink and you'll miss it moment, but I wanted to recognize that kind of detail all the same. Although, I don't know, this is simultaneously kinda strangely off-putting, and as much as I appreciate my boy Barry being the best character in the show, I wish he wasn't subjected to this torture. Hey, Professor! No flash photography, what the fuck, dude? Can I also just mention that there's like no plot to this play at all? At least from what we're given anyways. First there's that song about all 5 food groups, then Jared the tomato doesn't know if he's a fruit or a vegetable, and then Bubbles sings a song at the end. That's literally it. Pretty soon after this we find out that Mojo is running around Townsville stealing the dome off of the Capitol building, as well as robbing various stores in his spare time. Although he quickly notices something is very wrong. The Powerpuff Girls aren't showing up. This is one of those cases where the villain finds out they're extremely bored with committing crimes because it's no fun when the hero doesn't show up to provide them with any sort of challenge, and I mean, I get that. Where's the joy in obtaining things the easy way, right? Well, it turns out that Drama Bomb did more than just make the girls act all overdramatic like.
What? We simply
cannot leave.
The drama bomb's effect will not cease until the show is done. As the saying goes, the show must go on!
As we all know, the show must go on, and as such, the girls are trapped here against their will and incapable of leaving the school to go stop Mojo because the drama bomb is somehow magically plot convenient enough to prevent them from doing so. So instead, they just stall until Bubbles can remember her lines.
We must stop Mojo Jojo. Stop being such a drama queen.
We will fight in her stead. Let us away, Buttercup.
Also, can I just say that I really don't like Buttercup's voice here? Like, she flat out just sounds like she's trying to be a man. It just feels completely unfitting for the character, and the direction specifically could have been seriously so much better. And so we pretty much sit through a moment where Blossom and Buttercup give Bubbles words of encouragement to help her remember her lines, and this works because they say things along the lines of, they're a team, they'll support her, which in turn makes her realize that they're all a part of a whole. And whammo, there she remembers the one word she had forgotten.
At the end of your meal, should you want something sweet, like a nice candy apple or some tasty treat?
You know, I really do think Bubbles' performance is well done, although it completely dissociates from the overdramatic voice that she's been putting on this entire time up until the song. None of the other characters changed their voices while performing, so why did Bubbles completely return to normal? That doesn't follow the consistency of the other children staying in character due to the effects of the drama bomb. But luckily the curtains close and the play is over, meaning the effects of the drama bomb wear off and the critic lady goes absolutely nuts while Ms. Moz is so satisfied with her job well done. The girls ask her if she learned a lesson in all of this, and this is her response.
Yes, girls, I did. I'm gonna use a drama bomb for every production from now on! That was spectacular! I am spectacular!
Well, that was pointless then, wasn't it? Nothing was gained, and this character is going to continue to subject children to this awful pressure and cruel discomfort simply for her own personal gain. What a great character. I'm not sure how she intends on getting more of those things since the cult scene from earlier kind of implied she only got one for graduating, but maybe it's a case where she's actually allowed to have more, she can only just possess one at a time. To end things off, at the very least, Mojo's side story isn't left hanging as the girls rush in to beat him up, which he seems pretty ecstatic about because he's been trying to get them to show up the whole time. And that's the note we end the episode on. Truly, the title of Drama Bomb was not implying what I had feared, and this is an apt name for the item that Ms. Moss uses to brainwash the kids, but it also works with the figurative meaning too. I really can't stand the director as a character, and this has only made me dislike her more than ever before, but I don't find the episode in question to be an absolute mess or anything of the sort. There are aspects that are overdone a little bit for sure, and the glossing over of what was established in A Star is Blossom is hard to ignore. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to forget about that episode, but there were aspects of it established here that had a little to do with the controversy surrounding it. On the whole, this is a just okay episode for me. Definitely not top 10 material in either direction, so yeah, it's just okay.